या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 namo namaha. I bow to the Divine Mother. I bow to that Divine Mother in you also. God is both Mother and Father. God is you. But that's not so easy to see, is it? Because you see yourself in the mirror and you see all the lines coming of disappointment and sorrow. And I remember I was on an Italian television program in Rome one time. I was 50. And the interviewer at the end said to me, you know, it's not decent. You don't have any lines in your face of suffering. Well, it doesn't mean I haven't suffered, but I overcame the suffering. But still, we tend to not see the divinity in ourselves, and therefore to live more in our emotions, more in our likes and dislikes and so on. But in fact, God is in all, and our job in life, the universe has placed one responsibility and one only on your shoulders, to find who and what you really are. And that Guru, who is God's representative, he too is God. Whenever we would touch our Guru's feet, he would always put his hands like that to show, I give your devotion to him. I don't accept it for this body. This is the attitude of the devotee, to realize that all is Brahma, that we are Brahma, and everything we do is Brahma. Now, with that understanding, I'd like to ask you a question. Why do people gossip so much? They're always busy thinking about each other and thinking, what is he doing? What's he doing? One time somebody gave me a room in a hotel in Switzerland. It was supposed to have a view of the lake. Well, I didn't see the view there, and I asked the hotel clerk, where's the view? He got up on top of the desk, and craning his neck, he could see between two rooftops a little glimmer of this patch of water. So that's a room with a view of the lake. Well, people are so busy looking. View is one thing, but looking through the windows of other homes, see what they're doing, what they're up to. You know, even the newspapers, it's almost all gossip. And yet, there's only one thing you really need to worry about is your own self. And people will have so many different ideas, like that story of the man who wanted to sell his donkey. And so he, with his young son, went with the donkey to a fair. And they set out, they were walking a distance, but because they wanted to sell this donkey, they wanted the donkey to be fresh and beautiful, so they didn't ride it, they walked. And they passed a group of people coming the other way, and they overheard the people saying, what a fool, they've got a perfectly good donkey to ride and they're walking. The man thought, well, I don't want to look ridiculous, so he thought, all right, I'll get up on the donkey's back. They went on a little bit further, and they came to another group, and it said, what a selfish man. There he is with his poor little child struggling through the dust while he rides like a pasha on this donkey of his. And he thought, well, I don't want people to think that I'm unkind to my child. So he got down and he put his child on the donkey. And they walked a little further and they came to another group. And this group, he heard somebody saying, oh, look at that ridiculous, what kind of discipline can there be in that man's house that this poor old man walking along in the dust while his little boy, perfectly agile, perfectly capable of going on his own power, sitting there. Well, the man thought, I don't want to create a scandal. I don't want people to think there's no discipline in my house. And so he got up behind the boy on the horse. Well, you know what happened then. They went a little bit further, and another group came. And as they were passing this group, they heard this voice saying, what cruelty of that poor animal, 2 people on one poor little beast. The man at this point was so fed up. They were on a bridge crossing a river, and he just pushed the donkey into the water and fell home. And so now, I've mentioned this in a book of mine. It's also my guru's, God is for everyone. And in this story, I put a little footnote there, teasing the reader. Did you think the man was ruthless in pushing his poor donkey into the river? The one thing that could remain to be criticized. Did you take that route? Deliberately, I told the story that way. It's probably told that way originally in ancient Greece. But why don't we think that the donkey, finding himself in the water, they can swim, he swam to freedom. But people are so busy looking, studying, judging other people's lives, and then they say, I have no time for myself. You should really think of yourself first. You know, this is one of the things that I don't like about the spiritual path. People tend to get away from news, tend to get away from what's happening in the capitals of the world, get away from lots sorts of outward things. They don't read the stock market reports and so on. So what is left to them? They gossip about each other. And it's a pity. They waste so much time snooping, you might say, and you will hear so many things said against you or against somebody you revere. I remember someone wrote a very negative article about my guru. And somebody said, well, that seems kind of convincing to me. I showed her all the reasons why it was a ridiculous and false rumor in the first place. And when she heard my reasoning, she said, well, I see that you're right, but why waste time like that? You are responsible for yourself. Let other people be. My guru, this is one of the downsides of living in an ashram. One beautiful thing about Ananda in our communities, I have to add this, that you don't see that much of that sort of thing there. People are there to help each other. And when somebody makes a mistake, they want to help him out. I really do approve of that attitude. It's a part of what our guru taught us. In Conversations with Yogananda, saying number 230, Master says, don't gossip about others and don't be inquisitive about them. As soon as you become inquisitive about them, they will be inquisitive about you. You've no idea how quickly a rumor can fly. Give a lie a 24-hour start, I often say, and it becomes immortal. But then he also said, lies go with the wind, but truth goes against the wind. He continued, we had a man here once who started a false rumor about someone. When the rumor reached me, I started a false rumor about him. It reached him soon enough, and he came to me protesting indignantly, do you know what people are saying about me? I said, you don't like it, do you? You bet I don't like it, he exclaimed. Now you know, I told him, what that other person felt when you started a false rumor against him. He was so astonished. I want you to know, I continued, that I was the one who started that rumor about you. I did it to teach you a lesson. Now then, don't ever gossip about anyone again. Oh boy, 6 months silence. Reflect though, if you ever feel like gossiping, how would you like to have others gossip about you? God has given people the privacy of their own thoughts so that they may correct themselves. He watches the heart, not one's actions. All of you who live here are brothers, moreover. Why not help and encourage one another? What are you here for, if not harmony? Cling staunchly to the thought that you want peace outwardly as well as inwardly. What we are looking for in life is peace of mind. Then why disturb it by gossip? Try to think rather in terms of what you can do to help other people. If somebody's wrong, see what you can do to help him. But what the motive behind gossip usually is that, well, I'm not that way. As my guru often, I don't say often, sometimes I heard him say that people are so particular to their own delusions. A person may say, well, yes, I do admit I smoke, but at least I don't drink. So they're down on people who drink and think it's okay to smoke. Then other people will say, well, I admit I take a little nip or two, but at least I don't smoke. So people tend to be very partial, as I said, to themselves and their delusions. You'll never get out of delusion that way. I think really a safe thing is to assume you're wrong about everything. Then every now and then you clock in something you might have done right. I don't know the extent to which I want you to follow that advice, because I don't want you to have an inferiority complex. But don't feel you have to justify anything. If somebody wants to criticize you for something, don't feel you have to prove that you were right or that you meant well. Just God knows your thoughts. He knows what's right. He knows if you're on the right track or not. But never talk in self-justification. If people want an explanation, fine. But I also often find, for example, the tendency to want to talk about oneself. I always nip that in the bud. If I have a wish to talk about myself, I will often not say it, even though if there's a reason to say it, I will. But just to show what I am, it's a temptation to remind yourself who you are. That constant self-affirmation is present, lurking behind every bit of gossip that you share. Far better to get out of the ego, and that's what it's really all about. Concern for others' mistakes is a way of pushing off the need to recognize your own. Mind you, you will not be perfect until you've attained God. When you find Him and unite your soul with Him completely, then and then only are you free. Until then, it's much safer to feel that we're all in the same hospital together. And I have this particular disease to overcome, you have another disease, and in that bed over there, there's somebody with some other problem. We're all here for a reason. And basically that reason is that we aren't out of delusion. And if we're among those very few who come back here to help us, it's a good thing to revere people who have something to offer you. It's a good thing to have reverence for goodness. It's a good thing to appreciate goodness in others. I've noticed how often somebody will tell a joke, and somebody will tell a worse joke to top him. My feeling always is, if it's a good joke and I can't top it, let it stay. You may have a good joke you can tell too, but let it stand. You'll see that often reading the newspapers or watching television, it's just a preoccupation with other people's lives, other people's ways of thinking. If it's profitable, fine. But how little of the time is it profitable? Gossip ultimately should be, as Sri Yukteswar said, as Master said, if you want to gossip about anyone, bring out your own faults before people. It's rather a salutary lesson. The willingness to say where you've been wrong, also that, however, needs to be watched carefully, because many people are this type, that you confide in them something, and then they get angry with you, maybe years later, and they'll say, yeah, but you did so-and-so. Well, why muddy the waters that way? Remember, your perfection is between yourself and God. Don't talk about yourself even that way too much. Just say that, I know that we are all here for one reason. We are here to know Him. And when you feel like gossiping about somebody, try instead to help that person. What's the use of doctors sitting around and saying, oh, he's got this tumor, oh, he's got that malignancy, and so on? They don't talk like that because their job is to help people. Why not be more like that? Think in terms of what you can do for others. This is, as I said, one of the wonderful things about the community that we have, communities, because there are 7 of them, and I'm hoping very much to be able to start one here in India also. Not one, gradually many. Because my Guru said someday this idea would spread like wildfire. It's so sensible to think if you can live among people who are at least trying to develop, trying to perfect themselves, trying to overcome their faults and weaknesses, at least trying. How wonderful it is to be among people who, when you make a mistake, want to help you. Or when you're down, they're up, and therefore they can encourage you to put out more effort. And you can be encouraged to realize that, well, I won't be down forever. You get out of your moods, you get out of your difficulties, everything passes. Live at peace with yourself. Peace is the crowning glory of human nature. Let us sing this song to you, peace. God bless you.
Peace gave us the mountains, peace gave us the sky. Nightly when starlight enfolds us, peace is its lullaby. Amen. Amen. Peace gave us the morning, peace gave us the sun, bird songs that call us to welcome day and fresh labors begun. Amen. Amen. Peace gave us the seasons, peace gave us the rain, cool clouds that gather to bless us, mist hands that soothe away pain. Amen. Amen. Peace gave us our heart's love, peace gave us our smiles, rays of thy presence within us, light that all strife reconciles. Amen.